Before we get started, I just want to give a special shout out to Christian Whitney and Black Sevens. If you need any graphic design work done, make sure you hit up Christian at blacksevens.com. Christian is a native of North Denver and a beast at what he does. He also is a great dude. Visit blacksevens.com right now to see his work. Buy some merch and just see what he has going on. He knocked the DNL logo out the park, and we are super excited to feature his work. Visit blacksevens.com right now for more.
What up, Dom?
What up, Al? How's it going, brother?
Nothing. Just chilling.
It's another day.
Another day, another dollar, man.
Another episode.
Feel a little, man, I feel a little off.
Today does feel a little off.
I feel a little off, man. This not being able to get this crap that we're trying to do going pissing me off. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll make the best out of it and still have a great show today. Shouts out to everyone tuning in. Numbers are running up, man. We appreciate y'all for keep running them up. Keep it going. Keep sharing the website. Go on to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you give us a follow there. As usual, I'm Coach Al, sitting alongside my partner,
Coach Dom.
And this DNA Sports Podcast, man. We appreciate you tuning in. We got a bunch of stuff for you guys. We're going to be talking Deion Sanders. We're going to be talking Madden ratings. We got special player highlights for some in-state athletes that are doing big things in Colorado and looking to take their game to the next level and do all that. And, you know, got we talked some rap albums, Dom.
Some hip hop.
Hey, we're going to have some fun with it today, guys. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Once again, make sure you hit up DNASportsDenver.com. If you're an athlete that want to take the game to the next level, get off the ball a little better, make sure you go visit us there, sign up to do a individual workout, whatever you want to do, man. We'll build a plan with you and get it popping. Next Sunday, July 31st, we'll be at North High School working with some young athletes, I think 2nd grade to 8th grade. Just working some speed and agility stuff with them. So camp's full, but if you want to come out and see what we do, by all means, we welcome you out there to check us out and see what we got going on. It's a good idea of things that we do with some of these young athletes.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure you check out our website for sure and get some merch. The merch is looking right. The DNA logo on the middle of a chest is popping vibrant off of a black tee. So make sure you go out there and get you some gear ASAP.
You know what I want to do right now, Dom, is I'm just going to take a selfie of us, bro, just to show us this popping gear, man. And we'll post this online right now, whatever. You know how we do. Heck, we can even go live with this sometimes. You know, it's fun interacting with folks, getting more interactions. So we do encourage you, if you guys have something that you want us to cover, if there's something you want to hear on the podcast, whatever it is, visit DNASportsDenver.com/askDNA, and we'll get your question up on there. Talking with my brother, he's been interested in hearing some more fitness stuff with what we do. So yeah, man, it's gonna be we try to cover a lot here, but there's some things that we don't get, that we don't think of, or maybe we're just maybe we don't think that that's what you want to hear, but we want to cater to what you guys want to hear. So make sure you hit us up and let us know.
Yeah, even if there's a specific episode or topic that we touched on in the past that you want us to kind of retouch on and hash, whether the news has been updated or changed, or if we just didn't go into as much depth as you wanted us to on that topic. Again, go to the site, ask us the questions, and we'll definitely do what is asked.
Yeah. Hey, so before we get started, Dom, I kind of added some stuff to the script, and I didn't want to throw you off, but it was just mostly just wanted to mention it because it's stuff that you don't see all the time. But last night, there was a baseball game over at Fenway Park between Toronto and Boston, and out of nowhere, a football game erupted, man.
Hey, I was just getting ready to ask, are you sure it was a baseball game?
Dude, Toronto won the game 28-5, and if 28-5 doesn't spell out dominance and just pure lack of baseball ability, let me just break it down a little bit more. There was a inside the park grand slam home run hit yesterday by a former Rocky, Ramiel Tapia. And you don't see an inside the park home run often, let alone an inside the park grand slam. It was just wild, man. There was a 11 runs scored in the 5th inning. There's 7 runs scored by Toronto in the 3rd inning. Just an onslaught. And their pitching wasn't bad, man. Their pitchers did really well, and I think they had like 16 or 17 strikeouts. So,
on that grand slam, though, boy, was that a field error. He lost it, and he never seen the ball land, and then,
and he stood there.
He just stood there. Like,
Dude.
Where did you think the ball went at that point? Like,
when you see I think you see the left fielder running in, fast as hell, try to get that ball, and maybe that's why. Maybe he just saw that guy was coming and he was just going to get in the way. But it just was. You don't see that often, especially on a pro level, just to completely lose the ball in the air like that. And I don't know, man. I played some like beer league softball, and they stuck me out in the outfield once or twice. And being out there, man, them balls come in fast, bro.
Coach, you started out by saying beer league, so you were probably a little bit intoxicated. This dude was sober, bro, and he's a professional athlete. Like, he's gonna be on a blooper or two. You're gonna.
So I get a pass.
It.
I get a pass for missing a couple of the fly balls, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Bet. No, man, I just wanted to bring that up, dude, because like I said, it's not something you see often. The Blue Jays set a franchise record with 28 runs, and surprisingly, they didn't set a major league record. The major league record, the modern day major league record is like 30, so they were 2 off from tying that. But it's just something you don't see every day, man, and it's kind of crazy to see it.
Yeah, definitely.
So Dom, what I really wanted to talk to you about, amongst other things, is you see what's going on over at Jackson State University and what Deion Sanders is doing over there, man.
Oh yeah.
So it's no surprise to anyone. Deion's been there. Primetime's been there for now. I think it's going on his 3rd season, and he brought a bigger profile to that school for sure. But it surprisingly hasn't always been about Deion. It has always been about Primetime over there. He made an announcement on his Instagram that he was donating half of his salary to help complete the program's football facility renovations. So for those of you who don't know, they're doing some renovations over there, expanding, bringing in bigger and better things, which is dope for the program. And to try to keep that on pace and to get it done by August 4th, which is their deadline. It's a month before the season starts. Deion is kicking in half his salary. So in 2020, Jackson State signed Sanders to a 4-year deal worth $300,000 annually. Said he wanted to up his donation to half his salary to make sure that the facility was ready a month before the season starts. Wild.
Man, I love this, right? This is great. I mean, this is a coach putting his money where his mouth is. Everybody knows Prime is flashy, look good, feel good, play good, all those great things, but he backs up what he talks, and him putting his money where his mouth is showing the players that are currently there and future recruits that he's committed to building a successful program, and I think when you see a guy like that, a coach bought into a program, it's going to draw a lot of attention, and it's going to bring in a lot of those high-end athletes because they want to play for a guy who's equally as bought in as they are.
For sure. And it's funny that you mention it that way, that he's putting his money where his mouth is. He literally quoted, "I'll put half on it to get this done. If you don't believe me, check me. I'll send you the receipts." It's baller, man. I think it's important for an athlete to see that everyone is bought in, from the role players all the way up to the superstar, all the way up to the coach, GM, whatever it is, right? Athletic director in this case. But with seeing your head coach willing to say, hey, you know what? It's not all about me. Let's go ahead and put half my salary down, and let's go ahead and get this facility done. That's big on Deion, man. That's, you don't see that a lot in professionals or in any kind of sports, to be honest with you. Just a deeper look into what Prime is doing over there at Jackson State. He's killing it in recruiting, man. They have the 18th highest rated recruits in, excuse me, let me rewind that. Of the 18 highest rated recruits in Jackson State history during like the recruiting rankings era, they all came during the past 3 years, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, he flipped arguably the top recruit in the country from Florida State to Jackson State, which Florida State's his alma mater. Like,
Yeah.
It brought in legitimacy to Jackson State, helped revive the historically black college universities just profile and mystique, man. I don't, when I think HBCUs, I think Grambling, I think Southern. I don't necessarily think Jackson State, but he's taking that football level to a whole nother level of play and of just existence. And he has the team primed to take another step this season with some of the best talent the school has ever seen. So I'm excited to see what happens, man. If that can translate onto the field, that'll be big and you got to wonder if Dion is able to take these guys to, not necessarily, I'm not even saying like national title, because that's like years and years of building, right? But if he's able to get them into more notable bowl games, say like a New Year's Day bowl, or just even a top 25 ranking, you know what I mean? You got to know these other schools are going to be coming trying to knock on that door.
Oh, for sure. And you're definitely going to start thinking about Jackson State when you're thinking about HBCUs, and also I think it's a lot closer than you think when you're talking about these bowl games, because again, this is going to bring in so many recruits, right? He already stole the top recruit. And, I think that it's just going to be a domino effect now. And it's also putting the institution in the hot seat,
yep.
Right? Because he's saying, I'm going to pay half. Now they have to go ahead and pay the other half, because if not, the failure is on them. And it's a domino effect business, right? So they're going to upgrade the facilities for the football program. Then it's eventually going to trickle into other programs, because you know how that kind of thing works. And, before you know it, you're going to see a lot of the top-end collegiate athletes at Jackson State University.
Well, and it does, like you said, it puts them on notice. It says, hey, if I'm willing to do this, you guys better be willing to do it too, because there's going to come a point where if they don't want to match his step for step, he'll go somewhere where they will. And
yes,
I don't, and I'm not necessarily saying that's his motive or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, if you don't give me an opportunity to create opportunity, well, then I'm going to go somewhere where someone's going to give me the opportunity to fully blossom and be what we can be.
Yeah.
So shout out to Prime Time. Shout out to Jackson State. Just looking at their schedule, they don't have an incredibly tough schedule. They start out September 4th with Florida A&M, and then they play Tennessee State, and then they get into some of the SWAC play after Grambling State. But so it doesn't look like a terrible schedule. But, hey, if you can get through there, I think the first game is going to probably be televised. You're going to probably see a little bit more games televised for them. That spotlight's on, man. So I don't think they're like primed for any kind of like consideration for national title run this year, but they can definitely make some noise and make it hard on folks to overlook them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a statement like he made is obviously history in itself, right? How many times has a coach really said, I'll put up half of my salary to get this done, so I think he's already making history in that, and now they're just going to put together the work on the field, and I look forward to seeing what history they can make on the football field as well after this, Al. But speaking of history, change the pace a little bit. Kind of wanted to pick your mind a little bit. We're both hip-hop guys, right? We love music, both dabbled in music a little bit. I'm just curious, what are your top 5 hip-hop albums of all time? And I know it's hard because I went through my list and I couldn't really settle on 5, so you're going to hear a few honorable mentions. But honestly, my list was probably double or triple in size before I reduced it down to where it's at right now. I'll just name a couple, and in no particular order. I'll give you 5, and then we'll speak about the honorable mentions afterwards, and we'll go ahead and touch base on yours.
For sure.
For me, growing up in the 90s, All Eyes on Me, Tupac, one of the greatest albums of all time, in my opinion. The Chronic 2001 by Dre, Doggy Style by Snoop, College Dropout by Kanye. And now the 5th before the honorable mentions. And, for me, just this being one of my favorite artists of all time, I can't really leave him off the list, so I'm going to put him there. And again, it's not in any particular order, but Ready to Die by Biggie. you know, and those would be my 5 honorable mentions. And again, I think any of these honorable mentions I have could be on my top 5 list. The Blueprint by Jay-Z, The Carter by Lil Wayne, Get Rich or Die Trying by 50, To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar, and It's Dark and Hell is Hot by DMX.
Man,
That's history.
this was such a hard topic to kind of comb through, because you get to start thinking about albums, and then you forget albums. You start thinking about albums, and you think about artists, and you're like, well, damn, they're dope, and I love this. And so this one was hard, bro. But I did the same. I put 5 in there in no particular order. I didn't put All Eyes on Me in there, although I think All Eyes on Me is a freaking top 5 album.
Yeah.
But I liked Machiavelli, the 7 Day Theory. There was
Yeah.
some bangers on that, man. Pac came through, and it released right after his death. So the mystique and mysteriousness behind that. And, you know, I think now we understand how much work Pac put into the studio. So you understand how records can release posthumously.
Mm-hmm.
But I did Machiavelli, 7 Day Theory, Enter the 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang Clan.
Fire.
You know, straight fire. Love the Wu. Have that on vinyl. It Was Written by Nas. Another one that a lot of people say Illmatic, and I didn't get turned on to Nas until It Was Written. It was so that one for me. That one definitely stands out.
Poetry.
Docs the Name by Redman. Docs the Name 2000.
You know, people sleep on Redman, man.
Dude.
And he is great.
Redman is dope, bro. He's definitely one of my top 10 all time favorite artists. Favorite individual artists. You know, I know he does stuff with Method Man, but just as an individual artist, Muddy Waters was a dope album. So he's dope, man. And that Docs the Name 2000, that takes me back, bro, to some sweet times, just around getting out of high school and the end of high school. And then last but definitely not least, I put Outkast Aquemini. Outkast my favorite group all time, bro, period. And Aquemini was such a dope. The track Aquemini is such a dope track, but the album in whole, like, you can press start on that thing from A to B.
Just let it rock.
Yeah, just let it rock, dude. But you know, of course, there's always a list of honorable mentions. College Dropout, as you mentioned, was one of yours. That was one of my favorite. That and Late Registrations, like some of my favorite Kanye West. Eternal, East 1999. I just remember banging that as a kid, dude.
Yeah.
Too Short, Life Is Too Short. That song Cuss Words, I remember hearing that as a kid, thinking that was like the greatest thing in the world. Like my parents, we was at a cousin's house, and my mom heard us banging that track out, dude, and let's just say they were not happy about it. They reamed us pretty good, dude. All Eyes on Me and Me Against the World, both are up there as far as like super dope albums. Scarface, I like his Greatest Hits album because it encompasses all his greatest hits. But the Fix album is dope. And then one that a lot of people don't talk about is The Cool by Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah.
I think that's a really dope album. Dumb It Down, Hip Hop Saved My Life. There's just a lot of dope tracks on there, not even talking about the ones that were, you know, more marketed and whatnot.
Yeah, you know, I think for me, a lot of these, like, we're going to have our younger viewers. They're going to be out there. They're going to say,
Where's Drake?
where's Drake at? You know, where's all these other artists? And for me, my personal list is just, you know, what I think, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that this is the top 5 of all time, but I'm pretty sure if you look at both of our lists and you go to Rolling Stone or somewhere like that, you're going to find a lot of these albums on there because they're just great albums. And you know, I think it's a generational thing of who's your top 5 artist or who's the top 5 albums. It's really a generational preference at that point. But for me, man, these, you know, you got classics, like you said, College Dropout, you know, hit the Get 'Em High with Common on there and Talib Kweli. That song right there, I can forever just put that song on repeat, bro, and just listen to it. The beat itself is ridiculous.
The flow
You
is
know,
in the pocket like Wallace. I got the bounce like hydraulics. I can't call it. I got the swerve like alcoholics. I'm telling you though, bro. Like, hey, I agree, dude. College Dropout is super fire. That song, I can hear the beat just banging in my head right now, dude.
Yeah, and then Common. Voted in Denver. I ain't a mad rapper, just an MC with a temper.
Yup. Listen, I'll tell this. You mentioned the young folk. the young kids that maybe we didn't mention, like, you know, some of the people that they're banging right now. And there's a lot of dope artists right now. Hip rap has definitely changed, and it's become more commercialized and more theatrical. I mean, not to say that fools were faking back then being studio gangsters, because they definitely were, but it's different now, man. It's been more marketably friendly, so that you're able to make songs that you can market to people. So back then you couldn't do that as much. So there's no knock on any young folks. I'll listen to anybody they refer me to. Some of our kids be like, listen to this person, coach, listen to this person, and I'll listen. I'll give them an ear. I challenge young folks, take some of these names that we're dropping and listen to them.
And listen, like, listen to the lyrics.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, not just like the melody and the beat and everything like that. You know, listen to the lyrics that they're saying, you know, like, because that's the problem for a lot of our generation, right? When we get schooled to some of the newer music, we try to go listen to it, and
it's just a vibe out.
It's more of a vibe than a lyrical you know, classic. And I'm not saying that there's not lyrical MCs out there, because there are. You know, there's a lot of guys that are very lyrical in their own unique way. But, you know, the lyricism in the 90s and in the 80s, when hip-hop and the essence of hip-hop was around, was just phenomenal, you know?
Well, I think, like, you know, people use music for different reasons, and some people use music for a release or whatever, and sometimes they want to get away from like the serious sound and stuff, and they just want to hear some fun music, which is dope. I get, for sure. But there's always a message in poetry, and there's always a message in music. So I highly encourage folks to be more into lyrics. I've always been a fan of lyrics, man. Like, lyrics is where it's at for me. Thinking about the old days of just acapellas, freestyles, and you know, just coming off the top of the dome type stuff. Lyrics have always been big to me. And there's so many Cats albums who I didn't even list on here, didn't even think of, and I keep thinking about, you know, cats that are like that just never dropped a bad verse, like, you know, Jadakiss, Mos Def, Common, Lupe, you know, Immortal Technique. There's a lot of cats out there that just spit bars, and you know, they don't have that marketing push, because maybe they speak out against the machine, or speak out against the agendas that record labels like to push or whatever, because, you know, record labels are always about making money off of their assets, right? So they're not going to push some real controversial assets unless there's a big market for it. You know what I mean? So it's just the name of the game, dude. Like, record labels are going to cater to their listeners always, and they're going to sacrifice the artist's artwork to do that. Yeah,
for sure. You know, and you said it, they're going to protect their assets, and I kind of wanted to save this for next episode a little bit, but that was something that and we could touch base on it a little more in depth next episode. But, you know, protecting assets is, I heard that French Montana had recently came out and it was talking about that record labels are now putting life insurance policies on their artists, you know, because of, you know, the violence surrounding hip hop and a lot of the artists that are dying, you know, at hip hop shows are in relation to hip hop, that they're out there putting life insurance policies on them like they are literal assets, dude. And it's sickening to see that essentially these record labels are hoping for success but preying on their downfall.
They're covering their bases. The wild thing about that, bro, is it's twofold, right? So it's like, okay, these guys are making enough money now to record labels where it's like kind of necessary to cover your base, I guess. I mean, I guess, you know, they're living, you would think the record label would be encourage them not to live a reckless lifestyle, to put them in a position to be murdered or whatever. Hey, you know, I know you like to rap about selling drugs, but don't really sell drugs.
Yeah.
Like, we've given you an advance. Like, let's teach you how to use that. Protect your assets, right? That, you know, but instead they're just going to invest that money into a life insurance policy. So, you know, they're going to encourage you to continue to do you and continue to, you know, live your life recklessly, so that when you die, they're going to cash in on it, man. So if that's not message to people, I don't know what is, man. It's wild.
It is. It's definitely crazy, man. And you know, I don't want to take too much away from our top 5 albums that we did, so we'll definitely touch base on that at another time. But the one thing about both of our lists, is all these guys were hungry when they created this album.
Yeah.
Right? Each one of these albums, they were hungry. They were motivated. And speaking of hungry, you know, I just want to kick it off to you, so that way we can segue into our next shout out.
Man, I feel you. Dom. Before we do that, one thing I'll say is you can hear any of these guys, any of these albums, and you listen to it. And one thing I used to always listen for when I was listening to music was passion. Passion in the voice, and you can hear the passion in the voice for any of these guys. So big shout out. As Dom said, though, we do want to give a shout out to Janice's Catering. If you're looking for a catering service for your event, I highly encourage you to give Janice's Catering a try. Janice's Catering is a Colorado native family-run company featuring Mexican-American cuisine. From enchiladas to street tacos and fajitas, they throw it down. They've got delicious green chili, beans, rice, all the fixing, man. From small gatherings to large events, there's no job too big or too small for Janice's Catering. Weddings, birthday parties, anniversaries, funerals, business lunches, graduations, any event, make sure you hit up Janice's Catering. Find them on Facebook at Janice's Catering Colorado, or give them a call at 303-669-2215. One more time, Janice's Catering Colorado, or 303-669-2215. That's Janice's Catering. Big up. Bro.
You got me hungry right now, Coach.
Bro, they throw it down, dude.
Hey, I'm excited to try it again.
Try it again
continue
and again
to help
and
out
again.
Janice's Catering, because we all love good food.
Man, shout out. Also, while we're here, while we're talking about it, make sure you hit up DNA Sports Training Denver, or excuse me, can't even get it right. DNASportsDenver.com.
That's right.
Hit up the website. If you're an athlete that wants to take your game up to that next level, maybe get a little bit faster, a little bit quicker off the ball. Maybe you want to work your kick step. You want to work your pass pro sets, whatever it is. We've got a plan for you. We can make it happen. DNASportsDenver.com. Go and sign up for a class. If you're supporting what we do, make sure you go sign up and get you some merch. DNASportsDenver.com. You can buy you some nice T-shirts like the ones you see in the camera footage here. Shout out to my brother Isaiah. He bought a nice sweater he should be getting today. But make sure you hit up the website, man. Support what we do. When you buy the merchandise, man, it helps us continue to do what we do, whether it be the training aspect, whether it be the podcast. We do the podcast as a supplement to the training, right? We try to get the word out on the training, because that's the important thing, getting these kids out the streets and working hard towards something that can reward them and their family many times over. Last week we were talking to Brandon Bennett. He was down here and he was talking about the importance of getting a college scholarship to play football, because he knew he wasn't going to be able to pay for college. He comes from a family that doesn't have them resources, right? So it's important you're able to be your best. So make sure you hit up DNASportsDenver.com. Sign up for a class. Let's get it popping. Buy some merch. Listen to the podcast. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, man. You got to always practice on making your craft the best that it could possibly be. You're never too good to continue to practice. So, you see the greats are constantly practicing their craft. So make sure you do too. Defensive lineman, if you want to work on your get off, you want to work on your hands, you want to work on your pad level, your footwork, your escapes, whatever you want to work on, I'm here for it. I got an abundance of drills that I'm ready to just dump on you and try to sharpen our skills. Iron sharpens iron, right? I'm going to sharpen your skill as a player. You're going to sharpen my skills as a coach. Go to DNASportsDenver.com right now to book a session.
And Coach Dom's a pass rush specialist, so you make sure you hit that up. Speaking of pass rush specialists, Dom, like that segue?
I do.
That's professional, dog.
I do.
That's professional. I want to get into these Madden ratings, man. Madden 23, another Madden.
I love it.
It'll be releasing soon, right? I think it's here in a couple weeks, actually.
Yeah.
But they've released their rankings, and so kind of want to go through them, see what you think. I kind of have an idea that you're not too happy with some of them, and I kind of agree with you. Shout out to the 99 Club. So there was only 4 players that ranked 99. Aaron Donald, which, as we talked about last week, that's the best player in the whole freaking league. Devontae Adams, which is probably arguably the best wide receiver in the whole league.
Mm-hmm.
Myles Garrett, which was a little surprise to me, and Trent Williams, which is hands down probably the best left tackle in the game.
For sure.
Those 4 were your 99 club, the only 4. Surprised not to see any quarterbacks in there. The rest of the top 10 in order, you got Cooper Kupp at 98, Jalen Ramsey at a 98, Travis Kelce at a 98, Zach Martin at a 98, Derrick Henry at a 97, and George Kittle at a 97. Pretty wild, man. Some new names up there in that top 10. There's not a lot of mainstays up there, bro. Do you agree with the 99s?
I agree with the Aaron Donald, Devontae Adams, Trent Williams, Myles Garrett, not so much. Again, Myles Garrett's a beast.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal, right? But I probably would have dropped him a little bit lower and maybe put another pass rusher up there instead. I can think of several names when I think about that pass rushing list. And I'm actually kind of disappointed that there's not more offensive linemen and defensive linemen with higher ratings. After you get out of the top 10, you start to see them kind of dwindle down a little bit. And it's ridiculous, right? Because the game is played on our backs.
Man.
I mean, yes, their skill players make a lot of plays, and that's what draws in the entertainment aspect of Madden. But man, no respect for the guys in the trenches.
First thing I said, man, is who got snubbed? And then I looked at it again and I was like, what the hell, man? Can the offensive line, defensive linemen get some love here, please? There's several guys that are freaking, just up and coming beasts, man. And to see where they're ranked at compared to where they should be ranked at is just kind of disappointing. But, it's all subjective anyhow. I think there's no doubt Aaron Donald, Devontae Adams, and Trent Williams. I feel you on Myles Garrett. I think guys like Cooper Kupp might be a little. I think he's a 99. I told you last week that I thought he was the best in the league. Jalen Ramsey, he was a 99 last year, and he actually is a 98 this year. And I don't understand what dropped off on his game. He's still probably arguably the best cornerback in the game. If not, he's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And
Kelsey.
Travis Kelce's a beast too. Although I'm surprised he's a 98, to be honest with you.
You think he would be lower?
96, 90. I mean, it's a couple of points. I don't think he's far off.
See, and when I think about him, right, I think about not necessarily what have they done for the NFL and their accolades and things like that, but just their overall strength, ability, and what they bring to the game of football,
For sure.
So a 98 for Travis Kelce, I ain't mad at it just because when you're thinking about tight ends, he is that dude.
Do you rank him higher than George Kittle?
Oh,
because Kittle's a 97.
I think based off of body of work, because they obviously are going to talk about body of work. Based
Right.
off of body of work, yes, I think he's still slightly above Kittle.
Kittle was a little hurt this past season too.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Kittle makes it into the 98 or maybe even 99 club in 24. But man, just some of the guys that I just feel got snubbed, straight
Well, I mean,
disrespected.
if you look at it on a defensive tackle point of view, Vita Vea,
Yes.
Jonathan Allen,
Yes.
Chris Jones.
Yes.
I mean, there's a handful of guys, man. You look at some of the local cats, like DJ Jones was 26th, which that's probably more appropriate. He was good in San Francisco, but I don't think he was anything super special. But you got Jonathan Hankins, 31, and then the Dolphins, or the Raiders. I mean, John Jenkins and Raekwon Davis, 47, 49.
Yeah.
I thought the ratings on the defensive tackles overall were kind of skewed a little bit. I mean, you had a couple guys that were up there, but then the drop off was pretty high. In terms of edge rushers,
Jeez.
Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Fred Warner, and then Nick Bosa. Khalil Mack's only an 8. Von Miller's only a 10, only a 10th. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them guys are still big. Chandler Jones only ranked 14th. Come on, man.
Him and Max Crosby. Honestly, I know Max Crosby didn't get a lot of the sacks
Yeah.
that a lot of people got, but his hurries and the pressures that he put on quarterbacks were top.
Sacks are
5,
Sacks are a really great stat because that shows you can finish it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I love sacks, but at the same time, hurries. There's something to be said about hurries and just pressures. Being in the face of that quarterback. Sometimes you see it a lot with guys where you see with Aaron Donald, he'll chase a quarterback out of a spot, and the quarterback will go to run away and run into somebody else, right, and get that person a sack. So sometimes the sack stats doesn't always speak, the whole story with it, bro. But even like the quarterbacks, okay, you got Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, and then Burrow, right? Russell Wilson's a 9. Derek Carr's a 13, which me and you talked about this a couple weeks back. I feel like Carr can be up in that top 10. I think he is. Baker Mayfield ranked 18th. We'll see. We'll see what happens in Carolina. Deshaun Watson was interesting because he's getting paid number one money up until I think Kyler Murray just beat it by like 500,000. But he's number 11.
Yeah.
You want to hear how lowly it is to be a Dolphin fan?
Yes, I do.
So Tua's ranked number 23.
Jeez.
You want to know who's ranked ahead of him? By one?
No.
Teddy Bridgewater. His backup. Tua's backup is ranked higher than.
So Madden would start Bridgewater over Tua?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, man, there's just some that honestly, trust me, I own every copy of Madden since it's ever been out. I am a Madden head, but I'm a little pissed off with this list a little bit.
Dude.
Jonathan Taylor, a 95.
Bro.
We talked about him last week, too. Like, Jonathan Taylor is a 95.
Bro, they have Derrick Henry 1, McCaffrey 2, Chubb 3, Taylor 4.
That is crazy.
And then Cook 5. Honestly, in that list right there, I'd bump McCaffrey all the way back to 5. You could argue Taylor or Chubb at number 2. Honestly, I think, me personally, I like Jonathan Taylor's longevity a little bit more because Chubb is a bruiser a little bit. But either way, though, there's no way McCaffrey right now should be higher than Chubb or Taylor.
Let's keep it real.
Keep real, coach.
The only reason Derrick Henry is probably the top-rated Madden player that there is for running backs is because he's the guy that you would create when you create your own player that has all the ridiculous size, the ridiculous speed, the ridiculous strength. That's why he's number one. But if you had a choice, you're probably going to go with JT over him. I mean, I think I would, honestly. But receivers is wow.
Coach, before you go to receivers,
okay.
Do you know Derrick Henry is the only football player to have 2,000 yards rushing in high school, 2,000 yards rushing in college, and 2,000 yards rushing in the NFL?
I do.
That's incredible, dude.
It is.
Here's the thing. He's got a great offensive line. So you're right in that, he's ranked number 1 for a reason. You know what I mean? And I think all that factors in. But you're talking about the wide receivers. What you got beef with the wide receivers?
I got beef with the ratings for a few of these guys.
What's your beef, coach?
First of all, one of the hardest guys, in my opinion, to game plan for this last season, Deebo Samuel.
Okay.
Deebo Samuel was ranked at 89 overall and 80 for strength. Bullshit.
Hold on, coach.
DJ Metcalf.
Hold on, coach. Don't hurt him.
89 overall. 79th in strength. Bullshit. Justin Jefferson, a 93. Oh, my God. Again. Come on, Madden. You need to get it together a little bit, all right? Because the fact that those 3 guys right there that I named are that low is just blasphemy. It's an outrage. It's just gives me like nails on a chalkboard vibes. Like those guys were ridiculous, and we have them at an 89 for DJ Metcalf and Deebo Samuel. Put some respect on their name, Madden.
Maybe it's like you mentioned earlier. Maybe it's a combination of they haven't done it long enough yet. That's the only thing I can think of for not having them ranked 90, at least 90. Geez, like I seen some crappy players ranked 90.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think they should definitely be ranked higher. They shouldn't be in the 80s. as far as the top 5 though, with like Adams, Cup, Hill, Hopkins, Diggs, I don't have much of a problem there. You can argue positioning, right? I'm interested to see what Hill looks like with not Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball. So whoever it is in Miami, I hope Tua can blossom into that quarterback and be that dude. I don't know that he hasn't shown that he can yet, but man, that's going to be rough, dude. We'll see.
Speaking of, what was Mahomes at again?
Patty Mahomes. Oh, I didn't write his ranking down.
Do you have the number? Or
he was number 3.
He was the 3rd rating quarterback.
Yeah, I think he was like a 95. Here, I can pull it up real quick.
So you mean to tell me you go from the cover of Madden to the 3rd ranked quarterback in the game?
Well, sometimes, Coach. Hey, it's a big fall. Well,
but did the top 2 outperform him that much?
I mean, Brady did. Brady's number 1, and Aaron Rodgers is defending MVP. Although you could argue that Brady should have won the MVP last year. But so Patrick Mahomes is ranked 95, Brady's a 97, and Rodgers is a 96, and Josh Allen's a 92. I feel what you're saying.
I would probably flip Rodgers and Mahomes if it was me.
I feel the same
for
way.
the game of Madden. I'm just saying for the game of Madden, right? Who's more exciting to play with?
I'm going to pick Mahomes. They both do the same thing, though. They both get on their edge, but I'm going to pick Mahomes a little bit, I think. I don't like using Brady in Madden, dude. I've never really been good with Brady in Madden. I like being able to have an athletic quarterback that can get away from some trouble sometimes, and I think Mahomes would be that. Even Josh Allen's only ranked 92.
Yeah.
And I think he brings a lot to the table.
Even Tua being so low, right? Like, I'm sure there's guys out there that would rather play with the Dolphins and Tua than Tom Brady and the Bucks because of the how mobile he is, how he can get out of the backfield and run away from pressure.
Coach, don't say, are you drunk, Coach?
Coach, I'm telling you, in the game of Madden is different because you're trying.
Listen,
there's not too many guys that are skilled enough to sit in the pocket like a Brady and just pick a team apart. Now, I, on the other hand, can do such a thing, but there's a lot of guys out there who can't. You know what I mean? So most guys like to get a mobile quarterback so that way they can run and keep defenses guessing. So in my opinion, I do think that a lot of the mobile quarterbacks will be picked over the old gunslingers.
You're right.
It's like I just think it's going to happen that way.
Just to round this out, Coach, we can move on to the next one. Defensive backs, number 1, Jalen Ramsey. Number 2, Jair Alexander. Number 3, Tyrann Mathieu. Number 4, Derwin James. And number 5, Tre'Davious White. Locally and around our teams, you had Justin Simmons 10, Patrick Surtain 40, Xavier Howard 23, Byron Jones 26. And there wasn't a single Raider in the top 70. Rock Ya-Sin 76 and Trayvon Mullen Jr. 78.
Well, I'm not going to argue that too much. I think Mullen needs to definitely step it up, especially coming off of some injury. Rock Ya-Sin, we'll see what he does now with us in Vegas. But the two names that stood out on that list to me that I think need a little bit more respect on their name as well. Simmons.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a Raider fan, but Justin's...
He was ranked 10.
Okay, well, that's okay.
And that's out of all DBs and safeties. So
and where'd you have Patrick Surtain?
He was ranked 40.
Put some respect on that young man's name. He came in the league and he held it down. Denver hasn't been that great of a team, but if you think about their secondary, you think about Simmons and Surtain.
It definitely seemed like they found a cornerstone right there for a long time.
That pick six, he had a pick six last year that he ran. Again, I was talking next gen stats. He was on there. He was like the number 2 or number 3 fastest play.
Yep. And
he had like a 70-something yard pick six that he ran in 21 seconds. Jeez. Man, they got to put some respect on these guys' names sometimes. And I guess that's the chip that they have to play with, right? Madden's not the end all, but they definitely care about where they're ranked, and we'll see what they do this year on the field to kind of show Madden where they belong.
Just another list to provide inspiration, right? Wrapping it up and getting out of here. Bucks was number 1 team, followed by the Bills, Rams, Packers, Ravens, Chargers, Cowboys, Chiefs, Niners, and Eagles at 10. Bengals were number 11. I couldn't understand how they fell below the Eagles. The Broncos were ranked 14th, the Raiders 15th, and the Dolphins 16th. So Madden thinks that our teams and the local team here are going to be
water,
neck and neck for the comparison. So
yeah,
very interesting to see, bro.
Well, it's a game, right? It's a game based off of a game. And the players on the field are the really ones who go in and put in the work, so we won't put too much into that. But I want to segue into the game that's played on the field. And locally, we want to shout out a few players again. It's my favorite segment because we get to shed some light on some players that do some great things here in Colorado. For me, the first week we did this, I went quarterback with the familiar face that I coached against this year. Familiar face, but only because I've watched him as a fan. I've kept track of the sacks. There was a little bit of a race towards the end of the season last year. And this young man, Nathan Hallmark, he is phenomenal. He plays at Fossil Ridge High School. He's a D-end / outside linebacker. This kid's intangibles are great. His get-off is ridiculous. He fires off the ball. He has good hands. He creates separation. He had finished the season last year with 22 sacks, 19 in the regular season, and finished the overall season with 22. He had 5 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. He had 90 total tackles and 72 solo tackles. This kid's all over the football field. And when you watch his highlights, right, the most amazing plays to me are when he's fighting in the trenches and the play gets beyond the line of scrimmage, and his motor, his effort, his hustle, he never gives up on the play. Majority of his tackles was him chasing down running backs and making plays. Wow. This kid is phenomenal. I can't wait to see what he does this upcoming season in his senior campaign. But, you got us at DNA Sports watching you.
Big shout out.
And I definitely will say this, Nathan, your game is high end, but I would love the opportunity to get to work with you and kind of sharpen up those skills. So if you're out there listening and we're giving you this shout out for what you did this year, if you would like to maybe get together and try to fine tune some of those skills that you have and turn those 22 sacks into 25, 26, holler at us at DNAsports.com.
Big shots out for Nathan Hallmark. Those are some stats, bro, and those are hard to deny. I think you're right, man. Some of the stuff I love seeing on film is what a kid's motor is after the play's away from them, and that's a big telltale sign. A lot of times you'll see kids kind of just, it's done, I'm done. I did my job. The play's away from me. I don't have to do anything no more. And then you'll see a kid that's running down the field, chasing down the play, trying to make a tackle, even though it doesn't seem like they're even close, going to be close to making that tackle. They balls out, for a lack of a better term. So big ups to Nathan Hallmark. I went with the kid from Regis Jesuit High School, Andrew Metzger. And he's class of 2023. He's a tight end, 6'5", 235 pounds, number 7 overall in the state, number 54 ranked nationally as a tight end. Monster of a kid, plays offense and defense. I think you'd like this kid because he plays defensive end as well. Me and Sean last year went and saw that Cherry Creek Regis playoff game, and he was pretty big in there. He wasn't big offensively, but defensively he made his mark. Definitely was a someone that you had a game plan for and a force to be reckoned with. Offensively, though, he had 12 games played. He only caught 18 passes for 166 yards, but had 2 touchdowns. But as I mentioned, the kid's an athlete. 31 solo tackles, 20 assists, 51 total, 9 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and 15 hurries. So he's a big part of what Regis does over there, both offensively and defensively. And plus 6'5", 235 in the middle of the field as a tight end, going against high school kids that are definitely not that size, man. It's just a man amongst boys out there. So he's definitely a big time player. Sure, he got looks at DN too. It's hard to ignore that talent and the impact on both sides of the ball, especially with another season of experience under his belt. He was a heavily recruited kid, offered by Michigan State, Boise State, Air Force, Duke, Colorado, and he actually committed to Colorado. So we were talking a couple weeks ago about these big-time recruits not committing. Wow, we got one.
Good.
So we'll be interested to see him in black and gold. Maybe another great tight end in the long line of tight ends in Colorado history.
Man, that's amazing. Shout out to Andrew. Way to put in that work. Regis has a great program. Been following him for quite some time. And you're right, to see this guy on the field is remarkable. Not only just in size, right, alone, but his versatility. You mentioned it, playing tight end, going to the defensive side of the ball, playing some D end, like all over the field. It's exciting to see what the future brings for this young man, and also just the program over at Regis in general as well.
Dom, I'm calling an audible here.
Okay.
And I hope it's okay with you, man. I had one more shout out to give though.
Okay.
And we usually do our profile. It's been on football players, which is dope because that's what we know and that's where we come from. But I want to give a shout out to Landon Calabrese. He's going into his junior year at Mountain Range High School. He's a baseball player.
Okay.
Kid is family. It's my son's cousin.
Okay.
But he's a beast, bro. He's playing summer ball right now. He's hitting like 310, 450 on base percentage. I think he's got like 5 homers. He was sixth in homers in his league in high school as a sophomore. Getting some love from some coaches, being invited to some camps and whatnot. Class of 2024, he definitely should rank highly up there, man. He's a good kid, great kid. I've known this kid. He's 5 days older than Donovan. So great kid though, man. And I just want to give a shout out to him. He's doing big things. Shout out to his family. Just very proud to see him every time he's on Instagram or Twitter. His mom's posting video or whatever. It's great to see because coaching, you get to meet kids and watch them grow, and then just having family and friends around you, you get to see their kids grow, and it's awesome to see somebody you've seen putting in the work in from an early age kind of starting to see some of the benefits of all of his hard work. And I know he's got a couple of years to go still, and he's just getting into the recruiting process right now, and just big ups, Landon. Keep working hard, man, and continue to just grind at it, bro. We're proud of you, and once again, man, just get them recruits, get them coaches excited, man.
Hey, man, that's a curveball, no pun intended. Huh? That's a nice one, though. Shout out to that young man, and continue to put in the work that you put in. And if my partner here says that your progression from being a youth athlete to where you are now is starting to really show and you're starting to blossom, I truly believe it, because I know this guy's eye for sports and talent. So, shouts out to you. Continue to put in that hard work, and the sky's the limit, young man.
Wow, man. It's been great, Dom. We've already we're already coming up to the end of it, man. It's been a great day. Great podcast. You got some stuff going on tonight with UFC. There's some fights. You watching any of that?
I am, because I've been watching The Ultimate Fighter, so I'm definitely going to be watching to see what's going on with the UFC fights tonight.
Hell yeah, man. Camp coming up next week, right? We got the Speed and Agility Camp. We're going to be working with some young folks. Camp is full, but if you want to come join us and just take a peek and see what we do here at DNA Sports Training, you're more than welcome to. It'd be 8 a.m. at North High School over in Denver. So it's 2960 North Spirit Boulevard. We'll be on the football field. Once again, man, we appreciate you for tuning in all the time. I know we cover a wide plethora of topics here, and the feedback that we've gotten has been amazing. Love seeing where these numbers are coming from. Love seeing who's tuning in. We encourage you to share our pages, share our socials, share our website with all your friends. Go out there, buy some merchandise, man. DNA Sports Training is nothing without the people. So hit up DNASportsDenver.com. Do what you got to do, Dom.
Yeah, man, and I'll just like to end by saying make sure you also go check out Janice's Catering and Black7s.com. We also wouldn't be where we're at today without some of the businesses and partnerships that we have with some of these companies. So, make sure you check out Janice's Catering to get you some grub, and Black Sevens to get your fit right, and your design. Check out DNASportsDenver.com, book some sessions. Shouts out to the Wheat Ridge Vikings. I coach that second grade team. You better watch out for us. We're coming for you this year. Anybody in Jeffco. But, thank you to all our viewers. And once again, we're out.
Hey, and before we leave, I'm sorry. I know don't mean to drag this on, but you mentioned it. Wheat Ridge Vikings, they got a horseshoe tournament coming up here Well, there's a few horseshoe tournaments for different grade levels of the teams, so make sure you tune into Wheat Ridge Vikings online and figure out those dates. Come support these kids because they can't do it without the funds that you guys help provide. So
For sure. The first tournament coming up, I'll touch base on that. Sorry, Coach.
No, you're good.
Is for our 8th grade D1 defending champions, national champions.
shout out Coach AJ.
Shout out Coach AJ Gallegos. Their tournament is actually
Today.
It's
Or
Sunday.
Sunday, tomorrow, right?
Sunday. It's tomorrow, July 31st. Make sure you go out, support, have a good time. Sunday, fun day, and you're going to be out there with some great athletes, some great kids, and support that team, man, because they've been working hard since they were young guys. And again, it's proven. They're defending D1 champs, national champs, and shout out to Coach AJ and the rest of his staff.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. If you're a local business that wants to get a shout out on here or wants to do something as far as advertising, man, hit us up, dnasportsdenver.com/askdna, or you can hit up info@dnasportsdenver.com. We appreciate you for tuning in. For Coach Dom, I'm Coach Al. We out this mug.
We out.